sport class it's hard, and as a newcomer to it, this event I wound up becoming a 1,000-hour pilot. I was a 120-hour pilot the same time last year. What do you want to know?
2023. First and foremost, we do it all the time. Your name, your aircraft.
Justin Tisdale, Zenith 750 STOL in the sport class.
Let's talk about it. What happened in the 2023 season that really stood out?
Oh man, I went from being a student pilot at this event, basically, like I just got my ticket, to pretty much going to every event and then being invited into the stall drag world, and then going to Reno, the Reno air races, which is like the peak of the peak. I was sitting in a room where like astronauts got briefings. Every one of them were racers and have flown at Reno. So I went to the top, and now we're here.
Sponsors really caught light of that.
Yeah, so the sponsorship thing has been kind of wild. I've been approached by a bunch of people. It's weird because I don't know why, but I guess, just a good story. I don't know, but like at Reno, my insurance got canceled along with like 2 or 3 other people the day before. And it was wild because we didn't know what to do. We needed insurance fast, and it was because of the word stall. The underwriters read our deal for rah-rah, and so they canceled my insurance because it was considered short takeoff, short landing exhibition stuff. And the crazy part is I was on the phone trying to call people. I wound up calling Lag Gardner just out of the blue, and he told me a long time ago when I first met him, wasn't even a pilot yet. He was like, if you ever need anything in the aviation world, give me a call. And so him being insurance, first guy I called, and he's like, hey, we'll call you back in about 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, on that same day, I had insurance, it was binded and ready to go. Sent to rah-rah, and I was able to fly the event. It was awesome. It wouldn't happen without Lad. And then Lift Aviation, they came to me, and we were just kind of talking, and they let me borrow a helmet because I had kind of a janky helmet. And we started talking, and one thing led to another. Next thing I know, the end of the season's coming around for us here, and they're like, well, hey, we'll work with you. And so I wound up like getting a helmet and some shoes and everything, and they've just been super nice. And I've got a good safe helmet now versus something that's just pieced together. And so those guys have been awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of critical to have sponsorships. You see like these big events like NASCAR and
yeah.
Even then local racing, how critical is sponsorships?
For this thing, for me, if I didn't have some of the sponsorships I have, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's like Viking Motors, right? Viking Motors and Duke Propeller out at Reno, I nosed over, which a bunch of people will see on some upcoming shows, but my prop was trashed, my gearbox was trashed. I called them, they're like, hey, overnight it to us, done deal. Duke sent me a prop, Viking sent me a gearbox. Without that, I would have just been done. Same thing, I've had some things break, as everyone sees, and I had my seat broke today, and Roger from Zenith called me and was like, hey, can we send you out a seat? And that's the level of support that if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be doing this. It's been wild, man. Like Verticat, them coming to the table to pay for like fuel and stuff, for the season is crazy. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be doing this. I really wouldn't. Just it's an expensive sport. Racing's expensive.
Yeah, you're pushing the limits. You're breaking things.
I break everything. What are you talking about? I break everything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the support coming through for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this event specific. This is the kickoff to the season.
So Swamp STOL is the kickoff to the National Stall Series. It's called Swamp STOL for a reason. So it rained. We had a pretty good storm. It gets everything real muddy and wet. And I got those big tires, so I'm like barreling through it like a airboat. That's a bunch of people got video of, which was kind of cool. You come down here, it's muddy, it's wet. If you don't have swamp boots, you're done deal. Your feet are wet the whole weekend. But the winds picked up pretty good. We had some crosswinds at the beginning during practice. Today it was all right down the runway, so you had pretty much everyone taking subpar 100-foot takeoffs, 150 in the heavy stuff. So it's been a pretty good one. So it's not as bad as last year where we had sleet and the cold. It's been nice and warm. So I'm loving it. This one's been fun.
Level of competition in the sport class?
Sport class had 17 planes, or 15 planes, I think it was after it was done because 2 couldn't make it. It's hard. We have carbon cubs, we have just about everything you can think of that takes off short. The people that are flying are, some of the best pilots in the U.S., if not the world. Sport class it's hard, and as a newcomer to it, You know, this event I wound up becoming a 1,000-hour pilot. You know, I was a 120-hour pilot the same time last year. So to think about that and the amount of flying I've done all year, you know, that's the level of progression you have to get to even be close to being competitive at this. And you know, it takes heart and dedication to do it. So if you don't have it, I mean, you're not going to do well. But here, everyone's super nice and always wanting to help. So that's the thing that works out. People took me under their wing and were helping. Had probably the best takeoff, best landing I've ever had in National STOL. It's been, you know, kind of wild. I didn't even know, you know. I was laying in the hotel room after it was all over, and I was like, oh, I probably got 10th or whatever, you know, because that's just what I'm used to. And Karen calls me, and I'm literally got like the blanket over me. I'm about to fall asleep. She's like, you got to be at your plane in 10 minutes. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you're tied for third. I was like, I had no idea that I was even in third place. And then more importantly, we were about to have a head-to-head to tie break the third place. And so, you know, the nerves start racking, and I'm like trying to find something to drink, you know, like not alcohol, I mean like Red Bull, you know, try to get myself up, water, and, you know, put my shoes on, head out. And then we went and did the thing, you know, we both scratched. So you go to the second lowest score, which was Mark. So wound up taking fourth place. But dude, out of that amount of people in the sport class, to be even in the top 5 is like, and you know, we had a bunch. I think you were talking to Kelly, and it was 179 were me and Mark, and then Kelly Qualls was 180. So it could have been a 3-way showdown. So I think, you know, he doesn't know this yet, but I think we've kind of started to have a grudge match between me and Kelly. You know, every time we go to an event, he's always like, man, stop challenging stuff. Because like I challenged Sulphur Springs and beat him by like, I think it was 3 feet. So I think we're starting to get into that grudge era. But it's cool, man. Everyone's so cool and so nice.
Nice. What are some goals of yours?
Man, it's to be in the top 3 at every event. And you know, I didn't think I made it this time, but my goal is to be in the top 3 at every event, because I know if I'm doing that, I'm doing it right. But you know, it's tough. Our class is tough, especially with all the people that came out to this one. I think every event's going to be like that. We're going to have, you know, 10 plus people every event, and so you got to be on your game. You got to be on point. A lot of practicing. Still a lot of travel this year. We're going from like Washington to like Virginia, or you know, Pennsylvania. I think it was Washington, Pennsylvania. So you know, that's a week between the two. So it's gonna be a lot of flying, a lot of trying to get things squared away. When I leave from here, we're actually going to redo the airplane. So it's a lot of things that people don't know that are coming out. I'm going to redo my avionics. You know, I had the engine fire, or not engine fire, but electrical fire last year that smoked a bunch of stuff, and got it patched and band-aided to finish the season. And then we were working on what to do, and then this event came up. So I'm going up to Huntsville. We're pulling everything out, completely rewiring. The engine's gonna get busted out. I got a core coming, so we're gonna have a new engine on, because it was kind of overheating a little bit and throwing white smoke. So it's time to get rid of it. And possibly maybe a turbo. I don't know. We'll see how things work. But we're trying, man. We're trying to do everything we can with that plane. I had the opportunity to fly a Cub this season, and after this event, I'm starting to think that maybe I stay in the Zenith. I mean, I just beat the pants off of a few Cubs. That's kind of wild to me, you know, because those guys were the guys to beat all season last year.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah, so.
The Zenith is competitive.
It is, and that's the thing. It has nothing to do with anything other than I didn't know how to fly the plane. And I worked on it. I started doing better at like getting down to the low speeds, and you know, and with good people, you know, Eric Frello, Jeff Pohl, Joel. I mean, everyone comes out when they see you practicing. If they see something that you can do better, they're right there on the microphone, like, hey, try this, try that, and it works.
The Zenith is becoming so legendary. It's now part of a video game, right?
Yeah. So the crazy part about this whole story is like I had a really amazing like first like rookie season, right? Like couldn't have told me it would have went like that. And anyone that hears that story is probably like, there's no way. But yeah, so I got approached to do Microsoft imaging for the plane and stuff, and it's been cool. It had to happen through the eSTOL stuff that Tom and Erica brought together. So those guys are dreamers just like I was on the sidelines watching this stuff. They're playing it on video games. And like we were talking, I got a part of their group, and they're like, "Hey, why don't we model your airplane?" And I'm like, "That's pretty cool." So like, you know, I didn't know what to think of it, and then all of a sudden, like my plane is there with like all my stickers, like it looks exactly like my plane, and I'm like flying this thing in a simulator with people that are like flying it, and it's just an interesting, wild little story, man. It's just weird. I don't know how to express the gratitude I have for this and all that, all the people I've met, but there's just amazing and really thoughtful and good people in this community. And so I'm taking it in, all of it. It's just amazing. Burst sticks, and then 80K. 80K is the modeler. And like he messaged me, and within like 20 minutes, he was like, I'll get back with you tomorrow. So he sends me like this file. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? I'm playing on a computer game thing that I've never really done. They're like talking to me through like the headset on Discord and all this stuff, trying to like teach me how to do it. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so stupid at this stuff. And like we get it all set up, and I start flying my own airplane in a Microsoft simulator, which is insane.
That's cool.
So.
And he was saying, that British guy, he was saying that the champion won in a.
Yeah. So there's this person named Kat, I think is who it was, and they reached out on Discord, and you know, I watched one time and I was like, oh hey, that's a 701 or a 750, and then I like looked at it and I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry, oh crap, that's my freaking airplane. And yeah, it's just crazy to think that people are out there trying to play in a Zenith that I own, which is just, I don't know, it still blows my mind. I don't have the words for it, like, but I love those people. You know, I've talked to them online a few times and through Discord and all that. They're just some of the nicest people, and some of them have showed up here to help, which is crazy, you know. So it's bringing those people that are dreamers, like I was on the sidelines, coming in, and they're like, okay, hey, I want to help film, I want to help line judge, you know, and they're showing up, and we're getting to put face with online gamer tag name or whatever. So it's fun, man. It's you would never know that the world is that deep when it comes to aviation and flight simulator. I had no idea there were so many people watching that thing. I think they had like 30,000 people or something watching. That's insane. That's crazy.
Awesome, dude. I think I'm good with all that I questioned. Cool.
Gonna be interesting. Gonna be a weird season.
So the East STOL kind of blew my mind.